It's Chris. It is Monday, April 15th. Happy tax day. It's not really a thing, but also happy trial day. Donald Trump makes history today. History. Again, not the good kind. Again, as the first president or former president to face a criminal trial in these United States. So this is a big day. I wanted to just go over sort of what we know about the trial. Okay, so because Trump, there's so much Trump legal stuff that it's worth kind of going through each one. All right. This trial is in New York. It is basically this. In 2016, Michael Cohen, who worked for Donald Trump for a very long time and was known as basically his fixer, gave Stormy Daniels, a former porn star, $130,000. We know that happened. Now, Cohen has since turned on Trump and testified to Congress that he did so at the behest of Trump because Trump and Daniels had had an affair, and that Daniels was going to talk about that affair during the 2016 campaign, and Trump wanted to keep her quiet, so he paid her off. Hence, what's known as the hush money trial, which is what this one is being shorthanded as. So, another thing we know is that Trump did pay Cohen a significant amount of money after Cohen made this payment, but Trump has said that wasn't for reimbursing him for this payment to Daniels, if you follow all of that. So, what is going to happen? Well, this is early in the process. This is jury selection, which is not easy, by the way, because to find 12 people who don't really have any in New York, who don't particularly have any feelings about Donald Trump one way or the other, is not easy. So this will go on. Most people think between 4 and 6 weeks, this trial. Trump has to be or is expected to be in the court every single day, which is they meet Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. They have Wednesday off and the weekends. He is there today, Monday. He made a statement before going to the courtroom. You know, this is the greatest outrage in the history. I mean, I'm paraphrasing, but you get the general gist of where it's coming from. This will keep him off the campaign trail, obviously. He's going to try and campaign on Wednesdays and over weekends, which is, you know, a thing, but obviously not as great as if you have the whole week before you. What's interesting is that Trump's lawyers aren't really even arguing that he didn't make the payment to Daniels. It's that he didn't falsify business records to make the payment to Daniels. If that's what he's charged with. He's charged with 34 counts of falsifying business records. He's saying I actually didn't do that at all. And I certainly, if I did do that, I didn't do it with the intent of covering anything up, which, Now, could Trump go to jail? I mean, in theory, yes. But of course, in theory, communism works. He could go with up to 20 years based on if he was convicted of all these things. I cannot believe Donald Trump will wind up in jail because of this. But mostly because he's a nonviolent offender. I mean, I just don't see he has no criminal past record. I just don't see that happening. Even though I know people would love, or at least some people would love to see him wind up in jail, I don't think that's happening, even if he is convicted. Will this matter politically? I don't think so. Look, the trial's going to get a lot of attention, right? Not only because it's a former president of the United States on trial for the first time ever, as I noted, but also because the salaciousness of it, right? It's a former president allegedly paying off a porn star who he had an affair with to stay quiet during the run-up to the 2016 campaign. Like, it's like a soap opera, right? I mean, there's a lot there. And I didn't even mention the guy who did the payment has now turned on him. He was once his most loyal ally. Now he's one of his most high-profile enemies. It's really the stuff of Shakespeare. But I do not think that this will impact the race in any meaningful way. Even if it does, as I expect, it will get a ton of attention. Why? You know, because I think a lot of this stuff is just baked in with Trump, right? I don't think the people who are for him think he's squeaky clean. I think they think, yeah, he's a guy who kind of doesn't necessarily operate the way I would, but things were good back when he was president. Like, that's, I think, how people remember it. And I just don't think the allegations, and even with Stormy Daniels, who's expected to testify, I mean, that's going to get a ton of attention, and she's going to say things about Trump that are going to get a lot of attention. I just don't think it's going to change much of anything, which means we're basically where we've been, which is this is a tied race. Donald Trump is handicapped by his many legal problems. A lot of people think he's corrupt, but he is not ruled out because of his legal problems. There are plenty of people in this country, he's basically at 46% of the vote, plenty of people in this country who are totally fine with it, or they prefer him to Biden even with his problems. Will this trial change that? No. So keep that in mind when you're watching or reading the coverage of it. The coverage is going to be wall to wall, right? Every cable network is going to go wall to wall. The major news sites are going to lead with this. It's going to get a massive amount of attention. But remember, for a lot of people, it's already baked in. They already know who Donald Trump is, and they support him in some ways, not despite that, but because of it. Yeah. Which is a humbling thing to think about. Okay, that's all I got for today. I'll be keeping a watch on Trump's trial. I'm not going to make every day's video about Trump's trial because, that would be boring. But I wanted to do today's because I do think it's a moment in history. Whether we think it's going to be a big deal or not, it's a moment in history. And I think we need to take note of that and not necessarily move on, but I'm not going to focus on it every single day because it would get monotonous. If there's something big, then I'll do a video on it. If there's not, I won't. All right, subscribe, like this channel, spread the word. As always, I appreciate all your support. Take care.